Have you ever heard the story of the maid who became a queen overnight? If no, then sit down, my friend, because this story will touch your heart. Long ago, in the beautiful city of Obiduru, there lived a young woman named Amara. Amara was 25 years old, very beautiful with brown skin that glowed in the sunlight. She had bright eyes, a gentle smile, and a heart full of kindness. But Amara was not rich. She worked in the king's palace as a maid. Every morning, before the sun came up, she would sweep the white palace floors, wash clothes, and carry heavy water pots. The noble shouted at her, but she never answered back. She just smiled and did her work. And every night, when the palace was quiet, Amara would sit under a big mango tree behind the palace. She would look up at the stars and whisper softly, "One day, I will live a life where I don't have to bow to anyone." She didn't know that the gods were listening. One rainy night, when thunder was shaking the sky, Amara stayed behind to clean the great hall. As she swiped near the throne, something shiny caught her eyes. She bent down and picked it up. It was a small golden crown. Amara looked around. The hall was empty. She could have hidden the crown or sold it, but her heart told her the right thing to do. She held the crown close and walked through the dark, silent hall to the king's room. The old King Obina was sitting beside a lamp, coughing weakly. When Amara entered, he looked at her and asked, "Who are you, my child?" Amara bowed low and said, "I am Amara, the maid. I found this crown in the hall, and I came to return it." The king smiled faintly. "Most people would have kept it. You are honest." That night, something beautiful began, a friendship between a poor maid and a dying king. From that night, the king often asked to see Amara. She would bring him tea, sit beside him, and listen as he told stories of his youth, of battles, love, and mistakes. In return, Amara spoke about her simple dreams, how she wanted to help poor people, build schools, and make life fair for everyone. The king looked at her kindly and said, "Amara, you have the heart of the true queen." But others in the palace were not happy. Servants whispered behind her back, and Lady Uneka, a proud noble woman, was angry. "How can a maid sit beside the king?" she shouted. "She does not belong there." But the king didn't listen to them. He saw in Amara what others could not see: a good heart. As time passed, the king became weaker. One quiet night, he called Amara to his room. He handed her a small sealed letter and said softly, "Amara, promise me something. When you hear the palace gong ring, for me, open this letter." Tears filled her eyes. "Please, Your Majesty, don't say that." The king smiled weakly. "The gods already know who will rule after me." Amara nodded, holding the letter close to her heart. She didn't know what the king meant, but she would soon find out. Early the next morning, the palace gong sounded loudly across the land. The king was gone. The whole kingdom mourned. People cried in the streets. Inside the palace, the nobles began to fight over who should take the throne. Lady Uneka stood before the council and shouted, "I am his blood. I should be the next ruler." But in a small room, Amara sat alone, tears running down her face. Her hands shook as she opened the letter the king had given her. Inside, she read the king's final words: "Let the one with a pure heart rule after me. Amara, the maid who shown me honesty and kindness, should be queen of Obiduru." Her mouth opened in shock. "Me? The queen? she whispered. When the council read the letter out loud, the palace went silent. Then the nobles began to shout, "Impossible! A maid cannot rule in this land." But outside the palace wall, the people were celebrating. They shouted with joy, "Queen Amara, Queen Amara!" They hailed her. They knew her heart. They knew she would be a fair and a kind ruler. And so that evening, Amara was dressed in fine clothes. The same gaudy crown she had once found on the floor was placed upon her head. Now, as a true queen, tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "I will make you proud, King Obina." As a queen, Amara ruled with love. She built schools for poor children, opened markets for women, and made sure no one in the land went hungry. She treated everyone, rich or poor, with respect. Even Lady Nneka came one day, knelt before her and said, "Forgive me, Your Majesty. I was wrong about you." Amara smiled and lifted her up. The past cannot be changed, but we can build peace together. The people call her Queen with a golden heart. Years later, when the palace was quiet at night, Queen Amara still walked to the mango tree behind the palace. She sat there under the stars, just like before. But now, she didn't whisper her dreams. She only smiled and said softly, "I don't need to dream anymore. I am living it now." Children play around her, laughing and calling her, "Mama Queen, Mama Queen." She laughed too, her heart full of joy. And from that day on, everyone in Obiduru Kingdom remember her story. The humble maid who became queen, not by power or money, but by honesty, kindness, and a pure heart. Remember this, my friend. Never look down on anyone, because even the girl who sweep the floor today may wear the crown tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope you learn from this story. See you in my next video. Bye.